Russell Osman's name might not be as instantly recognisable as some of his contemporaries, but his story is one that deserves to be told. Born in Repton in 1959, Osman built a remarkable career that spanned playing, management, mentorship, and, ultimately, health advocacy. His journey shows us that success isn't always linear, and that setbacks can lead to unexpected opportunities to make a real difference. Osman began his professional journey at Ipswich Town in the early 1970s, working his way up from the youth system to become a fixture in the senior squad. As a central defender, he wasn't just another physical presence at the back. He was what people called a cultured defender, someone who could read the game strategically and use technical skill to control matches. Under the legendary Sir Bobby Robson, Osman became a key part of a successful Ipswich side during the late 1970s and early 1980s. His performances were good enough to earn him 11 caps for England, a testament to his quality at the highest level. Over his playing career, he racked up more than 550 professional appearances across clubs including Ipswich Town, Southampton, Leicester City and Bristol City. When Osman moved to Southampton, he faced a challenge that many footballers encounter as they age. The manager decided to move him from his natural position at centre-back to left-back, a role that demands different attributes. As Osman himself recalled, after all those years playing centre-half, the manager thought he would make a good left-back. For a player who had built his reputation and earned international caps in a specific position, this shift represented more than just a tactical change. It was a signal that his time at the top level might be coming to an end. Rather than fade away, Osman made a practical decision. He moved to Bristol City, initially on loan and then permanently for £60,000, seeking an environment where he could play in his preferred role and take on more leadership responsibility. This move set the stage for what would become one of the most dramatic chapters of his career. Osman's transition into management at Bristol City was remarkably quick. After joining as a player, he was asked to take temporary charge when the existing manager was dismissed. He then served as player assistant manager before ascending to the permanent managerial position in January 1993. For nearly 2 years, he led the club from the touchline, and in that time, he achieved something truly memorable. In January 1994, Osman's Bristol City travelled to Anfield to face Liverpool in an FA Cup third-round replay. Liverpool were one of the giants of English football, and Anfield was a fortress. But on that night, Bristol City pulled off a stunning 1-0 victory. This wasn't just a cup upset. The result was so significant that it led directly to the end of Graeme Souness's time as Liverpool manager. Osman's pre-match team talk was later described as inspirational, and his ability to motivate his players to rise to the occasion showed real leadership. Under his guidance, Bristol City maintained mid-table stability in the league, a solid achievement for a club at that level. However, management is rarely straightforward, and Osman's time at Bristol City revealed the complexities of football leadership. While he delivered results on the pitch, some fans felt disconnected from his style of play or approach. The tension between external success and internal satisfaction is something many managers face, and Osman was no exception. Then, in November 1994, less than a year after his historic victory at Anfield, he was dismissed. The reason given was striking. According to reports, the club's directors wanted European football within 10 years. For a club in Bristol City's position at the time, this was an extremely ambitious target. The board's focus on long-term aspirations seemed to override the value of the stability and memorable moments Osman had provided. The aftermath proved telling. Under his successor, Joe Jordan, the club was relegated, suggesting that Osman's work had been more valuable than the board realised. The dismissal triggered a legal dispute that would have significant consequences for Osman's career. He entered into a contractual conflict with Bristol City that lasted through the mid-1990s. The legal case created an unusual constraint. When Peter Shilton left Plymouth Argyle and Osman was asked to take charge for the final weeks of the 1994-95 season, he faced a problem. Taking on the full managerial role with pay could have affected his legal position against Bristol City. So instead, he worked under the title of Advisor of Team Affairs, essentially managing the team without the official designation or formal payment. This protected his legal claim, but prevented him from building the continuous track record necessary for a long-term managerial career. When Plymouth appointed Neil Warnock as their permanent manager that summer, Osman's time there ended. The legal constraints forced Osman back into playing, signing short-term contracts with Brighton and Hove Albion and Cardiff City. His subsequent career in football management consisted mainly of temporary and caretaker roles, including a joint caretaker position at Bristol Rovers in 2004. The legal dispute in the mid-1990s had effectively closed the door on the kind of sustained managerial career he might have built. But Osman didn't simply disappear from football. Instead, he found new ways to contribute. He transitioned into advisory and developmental roles, moving away from the high-pressure environment of frontline management. One of his most successful contributions came during his work with the Ipswich Town Academy, where he worked under Paul Jewell. In this mentorship capacity, he played a key role in discovering and developing Tyrone Mings, who went on to become a popular figure at the club before moving to the Premier League. This achievement demonstrated that Osman's eye for talent and leadership skills had simply found a different outlet. The qualities that made him a good manager worked just as well in a developmental environment, and perhaps with less of the institutional volatility that had characterised his time at Bristol City. Osman also maintained his public profile through media work. He was involved in football punditry, notably with HTV, and continued to leverage his football legacy for commercial partnerships. He's currently represented by a talent agency for various endeavours, including brand partnerships, endorsements, and media appearances. This resilience allowed him to maintain his financial stability and public presence despite the setbacks in his managerial career. The most significant development in Osman's recent life, however, has nothing to do with football tactics or cup upsets. At 66 years old, he has taken on a role that might be his most important contribution yet. Osman has become a prominent advocate for hearing health, speaking openly about his personal struggles with hearing loss and tinnitus. Tinnitus is a condition characterized by ringing, buzzing, or hissing sounds in the ears, and it can significantly impact quality of life, affecting concentration and sleep. Osman admitted that he was initially hesitant to seek help for his condition. This reluctance is common, particularly in fields like professional sports, where physical capability is so highly valued. There's often a stigma around sensory issues, and many people delay treatment because they don't want to appear vulnerable or weakened. After finally seeking help, Osman was fitted with the latest Signia 9 hearing aids and reported positive results. His willingness to discuss this experience publicly led to an important appointment. On November 14, 2024, he was named the very first hearing ambassador for All About Hearing. In this role, he uses his platform to raise awareness about hearing health, emphasize the importance of wearing hearing devices when needed, and, most crucially, challenge the stigma that prevents people from seeking help. His own admission of initial reluctance serves as a powerful message to others who might be delaying treatment. If a tough professional footballer can admit he needed help and benefit from it, so can anyone else. This late career pivot represents more than just a new job. It's a redefinition of legacy. By publicly embracing his health challenges, Osman has shifted the narrative away from the boardroom conflicts and legal constraints of his managerial years towards something more meaningful and accessible. He's turned a personal struggle into a public resource, using his fame to normalise the experience of hearing loss and the use of modern hearing devices. This demonstrates that public figures can find purpose and positive impact even after facing professional setbacks. Russell Osman's story is ultimately one of adaptation and resilience. His career can be traced through several phases, each with its own challenges. The tactical displacement at Southampton that ended his top-flight playing career. The boardroom instability at Bristol City that cut short his managerial success. The legal constraints that prevented him from building a continuous management track record. But at each stage, he found a way forward. He moved into advisory roles and succeeded in talent development. He maintained his public relevance through media work, and now he's using his platform to help others by addressing an important health issue that affects millions. His modern legacy isn't defined by the number of matches he managed, or even by that famous night at Anfield. It's defined by his ability to pivot successfully from one path to another, finding purpose in each new phase. By becoming a health advocate, he's shown that professional setbacks don't have to be the end of the story. They can be the beginning of something different, something that might ultimately be more important than the original plan. Osman's journey from cultured defender to cup giant killer to health champion shows us that careers are rarely straightforward. Success looks different at different stages of life. The qualities that made him valuable on the pitch, tactical intelligence, leadership, resilience, have served him well in every subsequent role. And now, by speaking openly about hearing loss and challenging stigma, he's contributing to society in a way that goes beyond sport. That's a legacy worth celebrating and a reminder that it's never too late to find a new purpose.